we are welcoming the Close to our show, and we're super happy to have you here. Can you, first of all, tell us where you're coming to us from and then introduce yourselves, please?
We are coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm Lori.
Yeah, I'm James. I'm Shannon.
We're the Close. So excited
All
to be
right.
here.
Yay. We had the pleasure of meeting the three of you while we were at the Folk Alliance in Montreal, which was a fabulous experience. Got to hear you play live and so stoked to have you on the show.
Yes, yes, we are.
Thank you.
So go ahead.
Oh, I
We
was
have a
going to say,
kid.
so tell us the new album. How long ago did it come out? Is it super new? How behind are we? Catch us up on everything.
Well, that album came out. It's been just a little over a year, I think.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, and it was more of like a full because you've seen us live, so you
Yes.
know what we really do. We had an EP that was out before that that got us a lot of attention called Hello Heart, that was more of an acoustic kind of sounding EP, a little more warm and earthy, closer to what we do in general. And then when we put out Orbit, we did the whole full production because we also have a full band that we also travel with and play with at times. And we wanted to do also that representation of what we do. But that's been a little bit over a year ago. And so we're already getting ready to go back in the studio to do another. I think we've decided to do another
Yeah, stay true to the roots.
acoustic EP.
And
Very
Cool.
we can't decide because we've done some live recordings that we have not put out yet. So you heard us live. What do you think?
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I think
You
put
think
them
maybe
all on.
Do
Put them
the
all.
Put them all out
there
there.
we go. More is better. More is better. More is better.
Okay, the more the better.
Yes, yes, we totally agree. The more the better. The more the
Yes.
better. So we're going to pick your brain about songwriting because that's kind of what our listeners are all about and what we're trying to do. We do
Yep.
lyrics, but tell us a little bit about. Well, first let's ask how you all got into a career as musicians. We'll start there.
Hmm. Yeah, but how much? How long is this
How long?
podcast?
How long is this podcast?
As long as it needs to be.
I grew up around it, so I don't really remember learning to play guitar. Everybody in my neighborhood, in my church, in my school, in my neighbor, I mean, it's just everybody, the pizza man, everybody plays music where I'm from. So I don't really remember how I got into it, to be honest. It's just part of what we do here in this town.
Did you
So
grow up in Nashville?
I grew up in Hendersonville, right outside of Nashville.
Okay.
It's kind of a melting pot of a lot of old legendary country artists, Roy Orbison, even Cash, and just yeah, that's where they all migrated to. So all their kids and grandkids and all those people,
You're in
it's
Hendersonville.
just Hendersonville music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where Taylor Swift started, so all of
Well,
that's kind of where people end up
I,
when they're starting here
I
too.
could have been a gymnast, but they didn't have that in Hendersonville. So
We tell James that he takes it for granted,
I do.
because he grew up saturated in it, and I grew up here, and I grew up in Oklahoma, and I had to kind of fight to get to music because we didn't have a lot of access to music growing up. We would go to Walmart and, whatever was there is what we would buy.
Yeah.
And maybe one at a time every few months, I'd get a cassette or, a record or something like that. And I grew up just really loving a cappella music and Christian music that I could get my hands on. I Weird Al Yankovic. Every time he would put something out, me and my older brother, you know, and he listened to rap and I listened to Weird Al, and it was this hodgepodge. But my parents listened to a lot of like Earth, Wind and Fire and um Crosby, Stills and Nash and James Taylor and things like that. And then I got a lot of it in church as well. And so, I just kind of naturally gravitated to really kind of layered music and pretty music. And uh, I didn't really know that I was a songwriter. I kind of figured it out because I was a cheerleader, and I used to always make funny cheers and stuff up. And then all of a sudden I was kind of writing songs in my head, and or waking up with a song in my head, and I didn't know I was a songwriter. I just had written all these songs and all these cheers and all these things, and then I realized one day that I was a songwriter. and then I came to Nashville. And so I so that's kind of was my start. It was really kind of organic, but I kind of had to scratch and claw to get access. So it's a little bit different than James, but we ended up in the same place, thank goodness.
Yeah. I'm from Georgia, and when I was growing up, as a little kid, my mother, she would consistently sing, and I know you may hear some of this all the time or something, but she would sing songs every night when I was going to sleep when I was really young. And my Aunt Judy, she introduced me to Linda Ronstadt and some Glenn Campbell and stuff like that. And my grandmother had this little recorder, so my mother would sing to me every night. I had this a recorder I was recording about, and I know this sounds weird too, about 2 years old. I would be singing, and it sounds so funny. And it didn't matter if I was sick or anything. My grandmother had the microphone in my face going, sing something, you know.
Aw.
Yeah, so I grew up on sad ballads. That's what my mother would sing to me. And Linda Ronstadt, she had such a beautiful voice. So I gravitated towards that. And as I got a little older, I realized, I didn't realize until I was in high school that I actually was writing songs when I was a lot younger. They weren't very good, but I would listen to, and I'm going from Linda Ronstadt to Kiss and Metallica and stuff like that. But I would try to write. I would listen to those songs, and I would write their lyrics down, and then I would try to write my own lyrics. And fast forward, I decided that I was going to move to Nashville, and I didn't know if I wanted to be a songwriter or I wanted to be a singer. I was a little bit good at both, I thought, one of those deals. And fortunately, I ended up running into some people that were like-minded like me, and I gravitated towards the songwriting portion of that. And I had what you'd call a mentor, and he was a very big songwriter. He had like 7 #1 country hits. He was big in bluegrass, but he said, I want to make some money writing songs. So he had moved to Nashville. And
he's the way that Shannon and I met each other.
yes.
Okay.
We were friends with, his name's Harley Allen, and his dad was Red Allen, who's in the Bluegrass Hall of Fame. And then Harley was a huge 7 #1s country songwriter, and we were friends separately with Harley, but he really mentored Shannon as he was a young writer coming up, and just made such an incredible impact on his writing and his style and his being solid.
Yeah, some of his first impacts on me was, hey, play me something. So I play it, and he goes, man, that's a pretty good hook, but you sure did ruin it. He would definitely tell me about how bad I was. And so one day I asked him, I said, Harley, why is it? I mean, every time we come here, you want us to play, and we'll do 2 or 3 songs, and you'll say, yeah, it's pretty good, but you ruined, something like that. And I asked him one day, I said, listen, if I get a song that I think you might, I might like, or it might have some potential, can I come to you? And he said, sure. And so as a songwriter, one of the biggest songs I felt like I'd ever written was the one that I was able to co-write with him. When I brought it to him, he loved it so much, and it was called Mommy All the Time.
Love that song.
And so that's, to me, that was one of the most special songs that I'd ever written, and so anyway, I was very fortunate.
Very cool.
I had a lot of people telling me, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that, but I just kind of stuck with what I thought I could do. And the singing and the artist part just kind of came in when I met these two.
And how did you decide to become a band? How did all of that happen?
Do you want to take that? It was kind of a no-brainer for us because we were all kind of doing separate things and had all worked on many projects and, separate record deals and things like that. And about, it's been a day, 2000.
It was 2000.
Well, Shannon and I ended up going to Los Angeles for a few years, and he and I had never really played together or written together because I did a very different type of project than he was doing. And we there was this little club in Laurel Canyon that's called Maeve's Residuals. It's still there. And I got to know the owner, and he was like, Lori, would you please bring some music in here? I've been wanting to, you're from Nashville, you know what you're doing. And I was like, oh my God, I would love to. So I told Shannon, I said, hey, we got to put a set together.
Real quick.
And it,
She did. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like,
I said,
well,
we're going to play. Yeah, go ahead.
let's start working on a set list. We'll do some originals of mine, some originals of yours, and then we'll incorporate some cover songs. And I was like, oh, that sounds easy. So I'm kidding.
Well,
But
and I had never done cover songs ever. I had never played I'd played one cover song in my life because when I was learning to play and whenever I was learning to sing and write, I just did my own stuff. I'd never even, when I was learning to play guitar, I've never played a cover song ever. And so that was a real challenge for me.
oh, challenge for you. Listen, if I didn't sing it just like the cover song was, or the cover was, or if it wasn't playing it just right, I was like, you're gonna have to get used to me not being able to do that.
which worked because ultimately when the few select covers that we do it our way. We do it for the harmony and we kind of arrange it and make it kind of special to us. And so yeah, so we went to Maeve's Residuals, and it's now Residuals. That's a little place in Laurel Canyon in North Hollywood, right at the base of Laurel Canyon. And it's a little historic place to where if you, as an actor or a musician, bring in your residual check, then you get a free drink. And there's just all these checks for like 2 cents.
Oh my gosh. How funny is that?
And so we started bringing music in there and it kind of became a thing and we became very comfortable doing, we didn't know, that's so dumb. Can't believe it, but we didn't know and we loved it. And so when we decided to move back to Nashville,
I didn't know James, by the way.
he didn't know him well. He'd met, we did a show at Hard Rock here in Nashville. James called us from California and said, hey, will y'all come do this show with us at Hard Rock? I was like, absolutely. That's the first time they met.
First time I met James.
Yeah.
Funny.
So, and so when we moved back to Nashville, I called James. I was like, guess what we're doing? He was like, what? I was like, we're coming home. We're coming back to Nashville. And he goes, well, I'm gonna be your bass player. And so because he's a bass player, he plays everything. And so you continue. I know I got really off track, but we're talking about how we got together.
Yeah, we're just gonna circle back around.
So you take
We're
over.
gonna tie this thing back around. James, you get it back in.
Well, Lori and I knew each other 20 something years ago.
Yeah.
And I had not met Shannon. And when actually they came here to Nashville to open a show for us at the Hard Rock. So in return, they invited us to the Rainbow in California, and we opened for them, or vice versa, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So she booked a gig for us there. So when I came out there, that's when I heard what they were doing, really at the level they were doing it at, and I was like, this is a lot more my speed. And personally, we get along really well. Don't you cough? You mute. You guys are.
Sorry, I muted myself.
Yeah.
I got a tickle.
Anyway, so when they moved here, it was like we spent probably at least 6 months, 2 times a week, sitting around campfires, bringing in players, trying to figure out what we're going to do, looking at songs. At that point, we were writing songs because they already had a lot of songs. Her and I had written some songs years ago, but we just didn't know what the project was. We just knew we wanted to play together. Yeah. And it took a while.
About a year.
Because I was just going to play bass. I didn't want to sing. They were singing great. They didn't need me. Finally, when we just sat down with some acoustics and they kind of had already gotten me ingrained in some singing, it was like, this is better than anything we're going to do with 5 or 6 or 10 players. So that's kind of the development of it, honestly. And the writing we do kind of on a schedule. You know, we do it 3 or 4 times a year if we can.
We have to. If we don't, so we do our own rendition of what a writer's retreat is. It's not what people think of that come to Nashville for a writer's retreat.
Yeah.
We quarterly, because when we first started out, I was like, look, guys, we were so busy because once we started playing. Yeah. And so I was like, look, if we don't kind of put this on a grid and get it locked in, then we're not going to have time to do what we need to do. And so we do a quarterly retreat where we go and either we have some friends and stuff that will donate, or in family that will be like, hey, go use the lake house, or like James has some relatives that have homes around here, friends and things like that, or we get an Airbnb. And we'll go on a Friday and we will turn our phones off and we will come home like Sunday evening. And between Friday, afternoon and Sunday evening, We usually have,
3 to 4
yeah,
songs.
we've been very fortunate. So we usually have 3 or 4, a lot of the songs on the album, Coming to Break Your Heart was kind of born out of that. And This Life was born out of that. I don't know if y'all have heard that one, but that was
Can't control it.
Can't Control It. Yeah, we've got so many that's actually been released already that have come from our writers' retreats that we call them. We're really lock-ins. They're kind of like a
Yeah.
summer lock-in. Um,
We've written 4 or 5 songs we don't remember.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well, that kind of leads me to a question of, okay, so you locked yourself in. What if you get stuck and you feel like you got writer's block? How do you get through that?
That
That doesn't happen.
that really yeah, we don't really have that issue, because
awesome.
we kind of have kind of worked into our process. So if we have issues with the lyrics, a lot of times, like when we wrote This Life, we were having some pretty big discussions on, kind of the melody, the little guitar intro melody was kind of leading us in some places. And in that particular time, I really got on a roll. And so they went outside on the porch and I just sat there and just went to town because I was really like, okay. And when that happens to me, one of them will kind of hit that stride. And so with the 3 of us, we really have found a good way. I don't know how we haven't hit the wall at the same time. But we are really good at letting, when somebody is really, hot on something, then we let them go for it.
I mean, behind the curtain,
sorry.
The other piece of it is that, I mean, you got to shed some negative on it too, right? Which is kind of what you're alluding to.
Yeah.
So, is it lucky we show up? Shannon's a hookmeister. He comes up. He's got big ears. He's always
got his recorder.
He's got a multitude of things.
James said I had big ears.
Yeah.
No. He's always listening. That is something Harley taught Shannon and I, is to have big ears and always listen to what people say.
Yeah.
And that's how we find a lot of our hooks.
So anyway, we don't go to these things just blank. We come with some ideas of things
Okay.
we all agree that are great ideas. And then of course I'm bringing in a lot of the musicality. So I have a fountain of things that I've been noodling around with, whether not vocal melodies, but musical melodies, things that maybe inspire, or something to kind of get us rolling. Or Shannon will sing something and it'll inspire me to play something. The next thing you know, Lori's like, I love this. We're writing this, But the negative part is that for us to write together, all 3 of us have to be excited about that one idea. And what a lot of times happens, 2 of us will be like, well, I'm loving this. And one person can be like, I'm not feeling that right now. And then so that's the downside to having 3 people writing. If there is one.
But
Yeah.
the news is if like me and James are excited about something and Lori isn't, that she was just telling you guys, if she wasn't excited about it, there may be another song we were working on that me and James got tired of working on, and we're out here doing something else, and Lori will all of a sudden disappear, and then you'll see her and she's just putting lyrics down, just like all of a sudden, just like bam, 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 and then we get back onto that song, and that's usually a pretty good song that we've done at that point.
Yeah, that's how we kind of, I know as songwriters, everybody's kind of got their style or their what they kind of gravitate toward. And Shannon and I in particular are 2 sides of a coin. James is really kind of in between, so he's not so far apart from us. But
follow
no, you
It's so funny.
He can't say that.
He cannot say that.
He flow of and he can put anything together.
He takes our inspiration. Like anytime we have something that we come up with, he really takes it to a whole new level. But I lead more with melody and like usually with my guitar or whatever. And I will even sing a bunch of BS and I'm getting the cadence down because I'm very, iambic pentameter and count this out and count that out. And if it fits in my head with the melody, is that when that part's done for me, the song's as good as written. If I have that, it's written. I may not even know what the song's about. It doesn't matter to me because if I've got that cadence and I've got that thing going, it's as good as written. Shannon starts with the hook almost always. And so he already has these things and ideas and all these ideas about just that hook, 50 things. And when he's got that, the song's as good as written.
So I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
But you brought it to attention. So the reason I do that is because so I consider a hook as is the title of your song. Okay.
Mhm.
And a hook can be, music can be a hook too. There could be something in a song like, let's just say Under Pressure by Queen.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's your
Yeah.
hook. And that goes off, you know it. So with me, it's my hook is the lyric. And so I write around that. And I try to make each line after the hook. So if I start a verse, each line after that will kind of go lock. What did they say? Lock and step. Lockstep with that hook. And the next line after that first line for the verse supports that line. And then the line under that supports that. And then towards the end of that verse, I may say the hook in that, or it may get to the chorus, which is all about the hook. Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I do it. And so in my mind, once I get the hook really fast, I see an outline. Now, I used to not do that, but I've been writing for a while, and that's what I was trying to do. And that's how I know it's going to be a good song if I have a good hook for me.
And that's where we come back together, because I'm very big about format and about in my mind and in my head, even if it's, verse, pre-chorus, chorus. That kind of thing. But we are in lockstep with that too, because I don't have any filler lines. Every single word and line of the song is going to match back up with what I'm talking about, so that's where Shannon and I kind of come back together, which is nice, because if it weren't like that, it might be an issue,
Yeah.
I just find this so fascinating.
I love it.
And I love how you take the time to get away from everything and just go and write.
We've done that a couple of times.
We have, and actually we were more though kind of learning the steps, like we were reading, what's the guy's name again?
Pat Patterson's
book.
Yeah.
And kind of going through the steps and following what he was doing. But we did come up with some stuff, and it really helped to just get away from everything. So I absolutely love that.
Yep.
And that you make sure you schedule out the time.
Yeah. Which we need to do more often.
Yeah, we do.
Well, think about it. Think about how many bands that you love that were so great, and then they put their first album out, and then that was it, because they'll spend their entire life writing their first album, and when it's time for the second, their entire legacy was that first album. And so that's, and also it's being in Nashville. We've really learned, being in Nashville is like the NFL of the music industry, whether it's producers, instrumentalists, vocalists, writers, whatever. And so we've been very fortunate to learn from just some of the best. And
I like to say that, and I just thought of this now, Lori and James are like spinach for Popeye. You know what I'm talking about? So if I've got something that I think is good, I know in the back of my mind that it's going to be better once I present it to them, right? Because if I can't find a lyric, or if I can't find a bridge, I know Lori's going to have that. If I don't have the melody right, James is going to be able to play it twice as good as I ever thought it was. So it's like spinach, it's like that's what makes our songwriting so good, because we each have strengths and we each have weaknesses, but
we feed each other.
We raise the weaknesses, we lift each other up, and we find that weakness and make it better for each of us. So,
well, I'm here to attest that you guys have some amazing music. So
yes, agree.
I love it. I love it. I think you have found your niche.
Yeah, for sure.
So part of it too is that we don't play stuff we don't like.
Right.
I mean, we've got a lot. We probably got a dozen songs that we've written, or that one or two of us have written without the other, that we don't play. I mean, doesn't mean they're not good songs, but we all have to like them.
We have to be enthusiastic.
We all have to be enthusiastic about what's on the set list. We have to be enthusiastic about what we're playing that day, that night.
Go fix that.
Hey, sorry, I've got a monkey locked up back there. He's trying to get out.
Oh, no worries.
We've got 3.
I have 3 dogs. Yeah. Well, one of them's a baby.
That's actually our laundry, because we have to pack tonight because we're going on the road tomorrow. And I was like, when are we going to do laundry? And it's like, you can hear it.
Oh, that's funny. We couldn't hear it.
No, all I can hear is dogs scratching at the door.
This is my office for work, and my dogs don't like it when I'm in here.
Yeah.
So my husband's home, but he was golfing. So he
not more though, because now it's storming. So.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So I was going to say, you guys were talking about, and you had said, we love your music. For people that haven't heard your music, how would you describe yourselves?
Ooh,
that's hard.
We have, I won't say it because I know you don't like it.
Oh my God.
So we were, I'm going to tell them.
Now you have to say it.
we wouldn't describe ourselves this way, but we've been described this way. We were doing, I guess it was Delgado's Music Makers stage. It's a really beautiful guitar shop. He makes, Manuel Delgado makes beautiful, beautiful guitars, and they hosted us and had us play at their shop. And his wife, who is lovely, but when she announced us, she said, it's like a wall of sound coming at you. And that's what, and I kind of like, oh, okay, I mean, because everybody's always like, what would describe, and we apply that to kind of, that's applicable to every genre that we do, because we kind of, we say indie country, contemporary folk, Americana.
Mhm.
I don't, or Laurel Canyon country, maybe.
I like that too.
Just lots of harmony and kind of easy listening.
I'm at the voice of saying that y'all know better what we sound like.
Y'all know better than we do.
So I think
I'll describe our
beautiful harmonies and
Yes.
just like,
Yeah, modern folk. I
Yeah.
think that's definitely
Yeah.
Americana. I would say
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
how we would describe you.
Yes.
Love it.
And awesome.
No.
Very awesome.
You just answered your own question.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
right. We did it.
Thanks for throwing that back at us. I like it.
Miserably.
We were failing so bad.
That's fantastic. Okay. So what are you guys working on right now? You just said that you're getting ready to start a new album. Are you already in the studio? Or I know you said you have a show coming up tonight, tomorrow, touring.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on. We're going to Missouri and Iowa, and then we're going to head out to Colorado.
Where in Iowa?
Yeah, we're doing Unionville, Missouri, and then Southern Iowa, like Centerville area. And
Okay.
then in May, we're going to, I don't know where these places are in Colorado. Del Norte, Colorado, Wildwood Sounds, Montrose.
This is our first time playing Colorado. So
Yeah.
we're excited about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Exciting. Yeah.
so cool.
It was our first time in Canada.
That's right. Yeah. And we've been
Yes.
to Texas and Oklahoma twice this year, 3 times this year. We're going back. Oh, and we just got asked to, I just got the call last week. We got asked to headline the 4th of July fireworks celebration for one of the casinos from the Choctaw Nation, which is my people,
I
in
love
Oklahoma.
it.
So yeah, I'm really excited about that. So they called and asked if we could headline, and I was like, well, yes.
Yes.
Congrats. Yeah, that's fantastic.
That is.
Yeah, so we're kind of
Did
all
you
over.
so then let's go back to the album. Will you be in the studio then after the touring or kind of
We've been arguing about that.
We're putting the songs together right now. So trying to select the songs, but we also want to go in and we talked about when we recorded this, going in and just recording just several and kind of seeing how they feel even before we decide how we want to produce them.
And by that, and James presented this idea to us. We thought, since we're so harmony focused, we thought, let's go just do some really good vocals on something and then write around the vocals. And remember you said,
and have them
record around the vocals.
So
that'd be something different than we have done. Correct. So we're excited about that.
Very cool. You heard it here first.
That's right. I'm really excited for this album. So
too. Okay, I have to ask because we're vinyl collectors too. Do you guys plan to put them on vinyl?
We actually plan to put. We are right now. Vinyl's so backed up. Yes. But the answer is yes. The answer is yes. But it will probably come out before the vinyl. I mean, we could wait, but we'd probably be waiting a long time. So
that's okay. We can wait to add to our collection.
Yes.
Yeah, because we want to do. We've got a lot of record shops and stuff that have invited us, and so I think that when we do that, we can do a record shop tour.
Cool.
Yeah. So we've got a friend in the UK on tour right now doing that. A record shop, Taylor's going up there, and
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple here in Omaha, Nebraska, so we'd be happy to have you here.
Done.
Yes. Oh my gosh, this is also exciting.
I know you have so much fun, cool stuff coming up. This is a great year. That's fantastic. I love it.
Should we do our 4 questions?
Absolutely.
So these are, we call them our big 4. Our first question is, and we'll tailor it to you. So as a group, what was your first gig together and your favorite gig that you've done together? Yes, so far.
So the first one was Owensboro, Kentucky, 10
10:06.
10:06. But this gig was in April. And that gig, Shannon and I, it was our first gig as the Close. It was full band. And Shannon and I both lost our voices. And remember that?
Yeah, I had just been on a trip to Georgia the week before the gig, and it was the worst pollen season ever.
Oh no.
And I had to go out and have dinner late at night. I was up late. There was a lot of talking, and I think that, and we had a 3-hour set.
Mm-hmm.
And mine went with about 30 minutes left. So I just started falling back and just hitting the notes and the harmony on the deal. And we all work together to bring each other
We
up.
were lucky though, because I too was so affected by the pollen, and we don't really do 3-hour gigs anymore. We do them occasionally. We usually do like 90 minutes, but this was our first gig and I lost my voice up front. And so I had to do the same. And so I'd lost about 7 songs. And so I was drinking hot water. I had a hot water kettle, and it was like just down in hot water. My voice came back, and then Shannon's about 45 minutes.
Gosh.
It was memorable.
What are the odds?
So James, you had to hold it all together.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't hold anything together. I'm the like, old glue that doesn't work anymore.
Oh my God.
He's so humble. He's so
Anyway.
full of it.
No, we just
don't
talked
buy it.
about our favorite gig. We listed our top 3, just like this is funny you ask, because like a month ago we were just talking about that. I know one of them was Bluffton, South Carolina, and it was there's a big transition between playing bars with pool tables and dartboards and selling tickets to people who want to hear you. And that was probably the first gig where everyone who was there went there to see us. It was a packed house.
It was sold out.
We had only played there a couple of times, and it just had grown. And the people there we had got to know, and they were singing songs of ours. We
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
the most the most emotional show we had had.
And when they told us that it had sold out, that's the first time we had sold anything out, and we were so excited.
And another
I'll bet.
That's the show too that I overheard the lady get. She was upset, remember, about the time.
yeah.
So it was the second time we'd played that place. It was like this, it was a general store listening room. It held about 125 people. And it was ticketed. And so they paid to come hear us. We normally don't allow openers. At the time we did, we don't anymore. Maybe just because they were a little cover band. They were wonderful, but they started when we put the showtime, and we're very cognizant of that. We like our show to start. It's supposed to, and we didn't know. They're like, I hope you don't mind we added an opener. And I was like, well, I was like, well, this time it's fine. So I was walking through back to the green room, and I heard a lady just really going off about how upset she was. She was like, you know what? I came here to hear the Close, and I have to leave in exactly an hour and, or 2 hours, and I'm going to miss some of the show, and I just stopped and I said, are you here to hear the Close? And because we're still like, wow, I can't believe this, and she's like, yes. And I was like, well, I'm with the Close. Thank you so much for coming. And she was like, and I said, we did not know. I said, but you know what, and I just talked to her. I said, we're going to get, as soon as they're done, we're going to run up there and I'm going to cut their set short. I said, I'm going to cut their set short for you. And I said, no, right up there. You know what I mean? So I went and told the guy, I was like, look, I love you, but we got to go on. And so, it was just, she was so sweet. She stayed the whole time.
Oh,
Was one of the criers, that was really touched, which was beautiful. It was beautiful.
And that opening band caught the place on fire.
Yeah.
No,
They were great.
They stood back and booed us every
They did
no,
not.
No, they were actually really nice.
It was just
and they understood.
Duo.
Yeah.
It was just a duo.
Yeah.
And
but it's the intimate shows that I think we all agree. We could probably tell you a list of a few others, but it's the intimacy. This really the smaller the show that is intimate and specific to people who, they don't have to know who we are. I mean, we've played some shows in front of 45 strangers, but they were so engaged and became part of their house. They became part of our show. That matters way more than a big festival with thousands of people.
Yep. I'll tell you, if you don't mind, in addition to that, and y'all are probably going to be like, oh my God, I forgot about that. But one of my favorite times was when we were actually moving from California back to Nashville. We decided to tour back, and James
Oh, fun.
with us before, and we flew him out there, and he rode back with us, and I booked a few gigs and we played. And we played this place in Overland Park, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
It was a biker bar, a
Oh,
biker bar.
fun.
And
Thinking,
do you remember? And it was packed.
I don't know any John Cougar
And
Mellencamp.
it
What are we gonna
was
do?
it was the sun was on us. We were playing, and James's band also played. We toured back together. And whenever we were done, I had the owner come up to me and say, Lori, my son and his wife, I'm just so upset they missed you, and would you come meet them? So we took them. It was after James was finished playing. He played with us and he played his band. We took them out to the parking lot
We played for
and we
probably
played
50
for them,
hours.
and everybody,
Aw.
the whole parking lot came. I mean, the whole,
Forgot about that.
yeah, the whole bar came out there, and we played in the parking lot for probably 2 hours.
Oh,
And
that's so cool.
Coolest thing.
That was awesome.
yeah,
I forgot about
I
that.
forgot about that, but yeah.
That was
I
our
love that.
that was our first show.
Yeah.
It was our first show.
Technically.
It was our first show. So we do that though. We've done that a few times whenever we had a couple. We were playing a porch fest in Folly Beach, South Carolina. And the lady that was listening to us, we ended up playing for 3 or 4 hours because
Oh,
Gosh.
gosh.
they were just like, please, would you? And so anyway, she ran home to get her husband. And by the time that she got back, we were done. And so we took him,
stage.
yeah, and we played for him. So we yeah,
Oh,
those are the special moments
That's
for me.
people that really want to listen and they are engaged, and that's the whole part about being a songwriter or an entertainer. I'm not just doing it for me. I'm doing it because it makes me feel good to do it, but it makes me feel even better if you connect with it, right?
Yeah.
And
mm-hmm.
we will play a whole show for one person
Mm-hmm.
if that person wants to hear it.
us.
You know, whether you play for 1,000 or one person, you do your
Yeah.
show. You do your show, and you do what you like to do.
Yeah,
So
we
cool.
definitely connected when we
Oh,
were
gosh,
there.
yes.
I loved it so
Yes.
much. And
Yeah.
fortunate that we got to see you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask, this one's kind of hard for some people, but who are your influences? You can narrow it down to 3.
Do we each get one?
You can each say one. How about
Yeah,
that?
how about you each
I mean,
say
you
one?
can say more than one, but we'll say
Yeah.
yes.
Oh my gosh.
I'll start. Okay, so I want to say, obviously, I've already said this, but Linda Ronstadt was huge in my musical journey. She is number 1 for me.
Awesome.
Love it.
I'll say Paul Simon for me.
Not Weird Al?
My
I
God,
almost said Weird Al.
It's a close second.
It's a close second.
she would leave me and James for weeks.
I love Weird Al.
I would, yeah. He's on my list. Like he's my
Great.
favorite.
This may not make any sense, but the 99% of the people who've inspired me in my career and my musical venture have been people you've never heard of. They've been people in my living room, people in bands I've played in, people in studios I've worked with, just a bunch of nobodies that have taught me everything.
Mm-hmm.
That makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
What are you currently listening to on repeat?
Ooh.
Harmonies for the new song.
Yes. Let me. Yes, I will tell you. I'm listening to a band that I found whenever it was like 2003 or something like that. And my friend Christina was like, "Oh my God, you have to go with me to hear this band. They at Third and Lindsley here in Nashville." And I
Oh,
was
that
like,
has-
"Okay." And I went there, and it's a band out of Venice, California called Venice. And they are I've just, for whatever reason, after all this time, I've started listening to them again. But it's a 6-piece. It's 3 brothers that are cousins with 3 brothers, so they're first cousins. So
Oh,
it's all
cool.
Writing it down.
Yeah.
So.
Venice. They all sing.
Right.
Listen to their album, I think Born and Raised.
All right.
And
Writing it down.
yeah, and they've got one song on there called Baby's Calling that just, to me, is perfect as far as the lyrics, the harmonies, the production. So yeah, I've got Baby's Calling by Venice on repeat.
Awesome.
Love it.
Okay, Shannon.
Oh my gosh. Listen, my music is so eclectic. I can go from listening to Garth Brooks to Iron Maiden, and So I did aggravate Lord to death the other day. I came in, there was this song that I was flipping through social media and I saw this video, and it was a pair of pants, but there was this song playing behind it. And I can't remember who it is, but it stuck with me. I had it on the big screen on TV. I was going, it goes a little bit, I can't remember what it is. Why you always in the mood? Acting like a fool. I ain't trying to tell you what to do.
Stop it.
I can't remember what the
I've
song
heard it.
I feel like I've heard it too. Yeah.
Yeah. It might be called Mood, but it's I don't know. I can't, but I listened to it over and over again.
That's so funny. That's so funny. It's funny that you guys talked about Under Pressure today too, because I heard it today and it's been like going through my mind all day.
Yeah. What do you have on review? What have you been listening to?
I don't listen to music. I just don't.
He listens with us, and he made me play Iron Maiden all the way home from, where were we the other night? Owensboro. We had a gig in Owensboro, Kentucky. And we have to be really nice to each other on the road as far as who's in charge of the music. And so I was encouraging them to pick a song, and then I'd pick a song, and it was Iron Maiden.
Every time.
No way.
Is that who that was?
Yeah, Motorhead.
And Motorhead. All right.
All right.
I did get on a playlist the other day, and I love Chris Cornell, so I was listening to a lot of Chris Cornell. So
very cool. I always like to ask this question because we learn from people other things to check out.
Yep. I mean, obviously we know Iron Maiden.
Yes, obviously.
I'm trying to tell you what that Mood song is now. It's in my head. I'm going to sing it on my
Don't, because then it'll be in my head.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to find it.
Yeah. Okay. What advice would you give to new songwriters or musicians?
You're going to get a different opinion from all three of us.
That's okay. We'll take it.
I'm going to pass on the advice that I got from a gentleman named Tony Arata, who wrote a song called The Dance for Garth Brooks. And way back when I was a young person in Nashville, he really loved my stuff. And he said, Lori, listen, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. He said, whatever you've got going, you've got it. You just keep doing that. He said, don't let Nashville change you. Don't let them tell you you have to co-write. Don't let them tell you you have to sit a lunch date to go write a song. He said, you keep doing what you do best and become the best at it that you can be. And so that's advice, because that really, I had so many people telling me, oh, let's go write, let's go do this, let's go do that. And I didn't feel comfortable. So I just didn't, and he really gave me the courage and the confidence to be myself. He said, he goes, I know somebody, that doesn't have to go co-write and follow all of those rules and everything. He said, and that's me. He said, and I've had plenty of success and I've had plenty of failures, but the success that I feel is, I'm confident in it. And he goes, and I want you to have that too, and so that really changed me as a young songwriter coming up.
Love it.
That's my advice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
As this is for songwriters. A lot of people say you need to write you 100 songs, and to be honest with you, that's experience, writing and writing and writing. So what I say is, you were talking about hitting that wall. You will when you first start. Mm-hmm. So my advice is to go ahead and finish the song even that day. If you've got time, I don't care if the lyrics are horrible. Finish it because it's part of a start and a finish, right?
Yeah.
You can always go back and make it better. I've rewritten songs over and over again, but if you start something and you're just like, that's just not what I want to say, go ahead and say something. Get you a verse, chorus. If it's a bridge you need, get a bridge. We're huge about bridges. And then finish the song, then guess what? The next song you're doing, you might have an idea. The next song you're writing of the one you already started, you can go back and make it better. And next thing you know, you have a song that you love. But just finish. That's all.
Love it.
It's great.
Love it.
Great.
What you got?
Mine's probably more life advice, which is songwriting advice, which is there's a million reasons why you shouldn't do something. The world creates hurdles. Mm-hmm. The world creates excuses. And so you're either going to be the kind of person who overlooks those excuses or gets over those hurdles hard or easy. Figuring out who you are as a person matters more in your songwriting or in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
figure out who you are, be genuine to that, and don't take no for an answer with yourself, not with other people, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
It's very
Great.
cool. Thank you for that
Great.
advice.
Yes, all of that advice is
Yes, you guys,
amazing.
that really hits home a little
Yes.
bit. Okay, so now it is time for your a shameless plug. Tell us where we can find your music, your website, if you're on Patreon, if you're on Bandcamp, all that kind of stuff, social media.
So the best place to find us is on our website, theclosemusic.com. And from there, all of our socials, all of our touring, all of our everything is right there. So you can, of course, find us on Spotify and Apple Music and all those places. But our hub is theclosemusic.com. And if you like our music, please join our mailing list, because we will let you know when we're coming. And listen, we might be where you are. We play Philadelphia and New York and New Jersey and now Colorado and California and all the places. So
Love
In
it.
Montreal.
Yes.
Montreal, yeah.
Yes. Well, you know what? We want to thank you all
Oh my
so
God.
very much
It's so
for,
fun.
from meeting you in Montreal to being able to chat with you tonight. This has
Yep.
been so much fun. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes. You were
Thank you.
all
Thank you. We love it.
Yes.
inspirations.
Yeah, well, it was our pleasure. We had such a good time with y'all
Yes.
at our
Oh,
show
yay.
in Montreal. We've talked about y'all on the way home.